is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden
This is a special question. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimedia, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it ganja.
Welcome to the Adam Dunn Show. I am your host, Mitch Shinasa. Adam Dunn is in New York at a convention and his birthday.
So I guess that makes me your co-host for the day, right?
There you go, and I'm your co-host.
I'm your co-host, the kid.
And KTI hasn't made it down here yet. He's not
KTI, what the fuck?
Whoa. Take it down a couple notches. Anyone who's watching on AdamDunnShow.com, our fancy-bancy script is broken. I am manually fixing it right now, so bear with me. But sorry for if you're trying to watch it. KTI, we don't know where he is, but we do have Frenchy Cannoli calling in a little bit.
We do. Very excited about that one.
I'm pretty excited, too, because you guys did an episode together that I completely missed.
Yep.
I heard it was a great episode.
That was a good one.
And it's lost to the ages, thanks to Livestream, who, again, with the fuckery. We're getting off Livestream soon, guys. I hope they're listening and they hear this.
Probably not.
No, they probably don't listen. But
I mean,
honestly,
they don't.
Honestly, if they knew how to fucking listen, we wouldn't be in this problem in the first place.
I suppose.
Because they haven't listened to the many technical support calls and suggestions we've had for them. But regardless, we're still in that transition. We'll get there soon. How's your week, bud? I don't even see you anymore now that you're over there doing the rec processing.
No, it was good. We got another 850 some grams out to Lightshade, getting ready for 710. Just got some material in from Durango Organics. I had my roommate from college in all week. So his family was in visiting, so we've been spending some time with them. But yeah, no, it was a good week, productive, fucking hot. Hot as shit. But other than that, it was a good week. How about yours? What did you do all week?
Good week. Busy over there in the world of Dark Horse, and trying to keep things moving. It's been my anniversary next week.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's good.
Was that like 5 years?
5 years, exactly.
Boom.
It's crazy because you didn't know me when I got married.
Nope.
So.
I just know when you got married.
That's weird.
Not really.
I don't know when you started dating Brett.
Well, no, because
I guess that's different.
Yeah,
but I will know when you get married.
Plus, you have a kid, so you can do some time
basic
spans.
time.
And I know that you guys weren't married for too long before you had the kid, so I just did a nice quick.
It was a good guess. It was solid.
Good. It was a good one.
Wait, so I got to decide: is this connected to the server? Quick connect? Nope. We're having some problems here. I got to try to update the page. Ooh, do you want to do shout-outs while I'm updating the page? We'll go a little out of order here.
As opposed to doing the news first.
Right, and then I can focus on this, make sure that everyone can see us.
Yes. Let me just get these.
There we go.
Shout-outs preloaded up for you here. So.
For some reason, my saved login.
So, what do you want to explain to them why it's just us today?
Adam's in New York.
Right. So what is he doing in New York?
He's eating a pretzel when I talk to him.
Right.
It's pretty obvious.
Which is weird, but...
Yeah, so I talked to Adam on the phone, and I could just tell that he was eating a pretzel. It was really... I've apparently talked to Adam over headphones and mic
enough times
that I can
tell when he's eating a pretzel.
Yeah, when he's eating specifically a soft pretzel, which I knew it. It was just very obvious. All right, you want to do shouts? I'm messing around trying to get this to work here.
Yeah, so we have here our first sponsor, as always, is Way to Grow. So Way to Grow is, serving the communities for a brighter future. So you can stop by one of their 7 locations right now. I believe we actually have... So you know what? Why don't we just put the shouts on hold? We'll bring Frenchy on.
Let's do shouts.
I'm picking up Frenchy here.
Right.
Hey, thanks for calling the Adam Dunn Show. Who do we have?
Hello?
Hey, can you hear us?
Caller?
Hi, this is Frenchy.
Hey,
Frenchy.
Frenchy. What's going on, bud?
Pretty good.
We are actually just about to do our news segment, and then we'll are going to hop right into your segment here.
Yeah, we're running about 10 minutes behind here, but I'm getting it fixed. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties, Frenchy, but we're getting it all lined up. All right, so
That's the name of the game for you, huh?
yeah, we like to keep it. We like to keep it loose. Kid,
You
why don't you?
don't need to call back in the time?
No, hang on the line.
Yeah, you can hang on the line.
If
It's
we're
okay,
not
no
bothering you,
worries.
you're not bothering us, man.
Okay, cool.
Kid,
So-
do you want to finish shouts?
Yeah, for sure. So again, we have Way to Grow. I believe they have 7 locations now. You can go to one of any 7 locations throughout the Boulder, Denver, Colorado Springs, pretty
Entire
much all
Front
of
Range.
Colorado.
Oh, and then up in the mountains too in Silverthorne.
Yep. So any of the locations, this one down here on Platte River actually has the concentrate corner. So any of you guys who needs your concentrate materials, come on by the Platte River location. Right now they have the early and often pest prevention sale going on. So that is going to be what looks like 30% off. It's like some of your pest prevention stuff. So some ladybugs. It looks like they have some kapow on here as well. But your pest preventions early and often the 30% sale. And then be sure to use the Adam Dunn Show code. And when they ask for your account at the register, just let them know Adam Dunn Show, and that will give you an additional 25%.
Kid, I killed him on candy yesterday.
Off. Yeah, really?
I went there with Jason. I took all the Tootsie Rolls. I even stuck a couple in my pocket because I was like, the kid would want me to take these with me.
They need to. Recently, I went to the one in Boulder most recently when I was planting my actual vegetables, and they had bags, bagged candy, little.
Good or bad?
It wasn't good stuff. It was like those. You know how they have Mike and Ike's, for example, but they have the hot ones that are like the hot tamales.
Yeah, hot tamales are great.
See, I'm not a big cinnamon candy fan, so I don't really like the hot tamales. But you know what kind of candy I am a fan of? There's one candy in this state specifically, but now we can call it in the country that I'm a fan of, and they are one of our big sponsors. So big shout out to Incredibles Edibles. They are bringing back, as you can see on the front of their homepage right now, the Firecracker Bar. We're gearing up for July 4th. That Firecracker Bar is fantastic. Usually,
and I heard we might be announcing some very special new releases by Incredibles in the next couple weeks here.
Okay.
I can't say anything
You're
too
not
much.
at large to say.
No.
Well, keep an eye out for some new releases. But when you can get the option to try this Firecracker white chocolate with flavored and multicolored Pop Rocks on the inside, it is fantastic.
Are they actually Pop Rocks brand Pop Rocks?
No.
What's the generic term for Pop Rocks?
I don't know
Popping
what the generic term for Pop Rocks would be.
For popping candy?
They call it blue exploding bits. They call it exploding.
No.
Yeah, that's what they refer it to. White chocolate with red and blue exploding bits. Okay. But they have so many different kinds of bars, almost 13, 14 different bars, and ranging from 100 to 500 milligrams with their gummies, and their also now their incredible black and yellow label extracts that you can pick up. So call a dispensary near you and see if they carry it, and if they don't, get them to, because you want to get your hands on some of the Incredibles. So again, big shouts to Incredibles Edibles. You can get them at iloveincredibles.com.
Keep it moving, buddy. Build the soil. You're doing a great job. Steering the ship by yourself, boss.
I'm still trying to pull up all the ads at the same time, too. Our next big sponsor, I believe you said he was just recovering from a root canal, so hopefully he's
back. I talked to him. He's coming soon on the show.
Awesome. So we'll get him on the show. Big shouts to Build a Soil, buildasoil.com, the number one choice for custom organic fertilizer. You could pretty much get everything you need here, from amending your own soil. If you just need some top dressings, some items for your teas. Actually, I believe they even carry a brewer so that you can get everything you need to make tea right from them. But these guys are great. You can order it online. He'll actually sit and chat with you and custom build your own soil mix for you. As you can see here, they have a bunch of products like the Grokashi, the inoculant. They have a bunch of different forms of integrated pest management products that you can use to be able to help keep a clean and respectable garden. So again, Jeremy at Build a Soil he's the man. So go check him out at buildasoil.com for more of that. And then of course, it looks like they were grinding away in the lab recently, right? They were pumping out some new live resin, some new flavors coming along from
6 new flavors with 3 more behind it. New blends, new flavors, all coming from Dark Horse. If you're here in Colorado, check out the new flavors. The orange rind is remarkable. What is it? Orange zest. Sorry, the orange zest is seriously awesome. Orange zesty. The Golden Pavilion is a nice, very Eastern incensey blend. A lot of really nice blends coming out. And of course, some of the classics, that Chem 4 looking delicious. Some Quin and Tonic for your CBD needs. Check them out. All that dropping from Dark Horse in the next week or two. And then some more surprises that we're cooking up for damn sure.
Awesome. Yeah, make sure you hop on darkhorsegenetics.com. Check out the Jaw Farm store. Get yourself some Dark Horse Genetics swag along with some of the other seeds that they carry. Go get yourself some Dark Horse Genetics too. You know, they have some. They do grow other things other than the Bruce Banner. They've bred other things. Believe it or not. So,
also, believe it or not, I got the friggin' website working. Yay, AdamDunnShow.com is up and broadcasting. Kid, thanks for... I'll take the wheel back.
No, it's okay. Speaking of seeds...
Well, I was going to big shout out to Growstone.
Okay, let's do that first then.
Okay. We love Growstone. You know, you need aeration in your mix. It's a very important part of your rhizosphere are these components that are going to hold air. They're going to create opportunities, porous surfaces where microlife can live. Often they'll sequester small amounts of water. And traditionally we'll use something like perlite in it. A lot of folks in the organic scene like to use rice hulls, but those tend to get compacted and break down. Growstone's fantastic. They're, for the eco-friendly side of things, they're 100% made from recycled glass. They're 100% post-consumer product. On the grower side of things, their scientist, Dr. Paul Acosta, designed this stuff specifically to be used in soil. It's really fantastic, reusable to a much greater extent than perlite. Doesn't break down, doesn't float to the top of your mix. It's really an ideal material, and we're really proud to be working with them. You can check them out at growstone.com. Is it growstone.com? growstoneusa.com.
Yep, it's
growstone.com. Check them out, or of course just click them on the bottom of our thing. And of course, while you're clicking around on the internet, don't forget our buddies at Veg and Bloom, hydroponicresearch.com. Veg and Bloom is your all-purpose. If you're going commercial, large scale, and you're going indoor, you're not going organic, and you want something sterile, you want something reliable, predictable, something easy to do, something you can put in a machine and run, Veg and Bloom's the way to go. There's no better way to get your large scale, consistent production that's high quality. It's very simple. It smells great, looks great, tastes great, all of it. And you can find out more, and it's simple.
That's so easy.
It's simple. It's powders. They dissolve very easily. They couldn't make it easier.
No crazy conversions of milliliters to tablespoons.
No
it's
measuring.
Grams.
Yeah,
it's
you just
so
scoop
easy.
it, scoop and go. Find out more at hydroponic-research.com, or of course you can go down on the bottom of the Adam Dunn Show page and click the Veg and Bloom link. And finally,
seeds here now.
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 Seeds here now. Seeds here now. Seeds here now. Seeds here now. Go to seedsherenow.com. If you're looking for genetics, you want TH seeds, Adam seeds, you can get them at Seeds Here Now.
Boom.
You want our buddy DJ Short. You want DJ Short seeds? Seeds Here Now.
Exotic, Crockett.
Sure. Sonny
Plata.
Chiba.
Gas. DJ Short. Loud.
Oh, you have it up. Mine's not. Mine's still loading.
Dark
That's
Horse.
why you know them all. Dark Horse, for sure. There's a little of that. Motor Rebel.
You want to get some of that original triangle?
Snow High.
They got Swamp Boys on there too.
TSK. Our guest from last week.
Top
There's
Dog.
Bog.
You know, our buddy JJ's on there. You want to get some nice Chem Dog seeds? There you go. Right there.
And there are some new Top Dog releases, some new Sonny Chiba gear up in the house. Go check it out. Seedsherenow.com. 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 Great supporters of the show, great friends of the show, and great friends to the community for everything they provide.
Perfect. Now, do you want to go in through news?
Yo, F the news. Let's go right to Frenchy.
Okay.
You got some theme music for Frenchy?
I believe I do.
Frenchy,
if the computer
are you still with us, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm still with you guys.
Cool, man. Ryan's got some theme music he dug up
It
for
seems
you.
that, yeah. So,
here
we have the...
There we go.
It's going to be perfect. He can just talk over this the whole time and
Yeah.
I feel like he's right at home.
Yeah, exactly. I get it pretty smooth. Ryan, can you pull it down in the mix as a little loud in my headphones? Or at least make Frenchy louder. Right on. So, Frenchy, I'm glad to have you back. So, last show you were on, man, I wasn't in the studio. And somehow live stream effed us, and we lost the episode. So, I didn't even get to hear it. But the last show that I was on with you, which I think was in February in San Bernardino, was really great conversation until that really high drunk scientist guy sat down and started talking crazy.
You under that guy in a way, it was quite amazing.
I mean, I personally love it when we had the same thing when we did our Adam Dunn Show Invitational. Some random person, whenever we do a live event, there's someone who doesn't get it. And they don't get that we're broadcasting, and they want to get on the microphone and talk, and they make a fool of themselves. And that's one of my favorite parts of doing a live show.
Especially when it's at the after event of the cup, and there's 1,000 people watching live, and it's they don't realize that they're making an ass out of themselves now in front of 1,000 people.
Yeah, those are the good times. We like that. But before that guy jumped on, we were having a really great conversation about, and this is, I think, a great setup because I know you're coming out here in, what is it, 2 weeks, and you're going to be doing your Lost Art of Hashishin seminar at our Soha Gallery, and we're so honored to have you. And I want to talk about that in depth in a little bit, but I want to start and give the background for people who are maybe considering it, but it's not about, they know they're going to learn something, but they want to know a little bit more about you. And we talked a little bit about your roots, and you traveled in the Middle East and Mexico, making hash with locals for years. And I think...
Well,
go ahead.
It's simple. When I was a kid, I always dreamed of traveling. It's always been big in my life since early childhood. And my big hero were the discoverer and Marco Polo and all adventurers. So that when I reached 18, when I was an adult, I traveled for 18 years. I literally took my retirement up front. And I never stopped more than 3 months in one place, and every year I would spend 3 months up in the mountains with locals making hash.
And in those travels, I mean, obviously you've learned such a great deal of technique, and that's what you're going to cover in the seminar. And I want to talk about more, but I mean, the things that interest me most, one, are the culture that you were exposed to, that you absorbed, that you participated in, and the differences in the different regions.
When it's hashish culture, it's always been Muslim country. So there is a lot of things in common, that hospitality they have, and the actual tech of working are slightly different, but the whole family atmosphere when you live with them on the farm, it's quite similar. It's when I went to India and Nepal that it really changed totally. First, because for the first time of my life, I actually was working with live plants. When I went to hashish producing country, you work with cured flowers that have been, it's a bundle of plants that have been cured for 3 to 9 months. So you don't have that. You have a relation with the resin. You don't really have a relation with the plant. The relation with the plant was when I was in India, when you literally stick live resin in your hand at peak of harvest.
And excuse me, sorry. And did you find when you went to these places, right? Like, how do you approach I imagine that these villages are somewhat suspicious of outsiders to start off. What they're doing in almost everywhere is still somewhat illegal to enforce different amounts.
Absolutely, yeah. I never thought about it until lately when I had to think about all this travel I did to actually try to learn what I was learning unconsciously working alongside these people. And I realized that they gave me everything. I lived with them for months in a row. And the only thing that I had being absolutely clueless was that deep love for resin and quality, and that was the passport. I don't feel nothing else, because every one of those countries I was really welcome in a way. It's hard to describe, and I had nothing much to offer, and they gave me everything just because I was, I guess, such a crazy one to go that far, because I just wanted that highest quality that you cannot buy. You have to make it alongside them, and just for that you get the respect. I wasn't a buyer. I came there to make it with them, which was quite different in a way.
Sure, and I I think that to me is one of the most interesting. Frenchy, Ryan's telling me if we could ask you to just move the phone a little bit further from your mouth.
Sure.
I think the audience will be able to hear you a little more clearly. Yeah, and I think that's what's so interesting is you're approaching these people who, if they deal with Westerners, it's almost always as a buyer. What's that process like to walk up to someone? Because I even know it's here in the States now. If I run into a grower outside of Colorado or a hash maker and you start talking technique with them, they're very suspicious. They almost don't want to tell you anything. And that's being of the same culture, whatever, a few states away. How do you go about that almost as an anthropologist crossing that boundary? Do you speak Arabic?
No. And I spend months with people where we had maybe half a dozen words in common, and we actually did have conversation. It must have been funny to film, but we had conversation. I mean, it's like you have. It's hard to explain. It's like when you live alongside them for so long, it goes beyond language in a certain way. You can express a lot by making face and you know what I mean? You don't really sometimes need to understand the word to get the meaning.
Sure, absolutely. And do you find that going out there and sort of with that interest in quality, the head stash, if you're going out there saying, hey, I know you sell a lot of commercial stuff to customers, but I'm here talking about head stash. I don't want to buy it from you. I don't want to export it. I want to share it with you, and I want to help you make it. Was it hard to get tapped into that core of people who really care about quality? I have to imagine it's like here where not 100% of people are really, really, really after the quality. It's really the devotees.
I mean, you have to understand that these people produce quantity. Like in Morocco, it's the biggest exporter in the world. But behind that, they have been making hash and smoking hash in the family for many, many, many generations. So, despite the fact that they produce quantity, they do also produce quality, but just for themselves. And it's hard for me to explain how I approached them because I didn't really have a personal approach. Just the fact I went so far into producing countries that already very few people would go that far. And then when you get hooked up by your family and they start showing you their stuff, and they always start to show you the worst quality, and you don't want it, you don't want nothing that they have, and then you explain them, they say, look, it's like, I'd like to do it myself if you don't mind, and they flip out on you because few people are ready to spend the money necessary to do that. And for me, I had no schedule. I had all the time in the world to do this because that was my smoke for the year.
How long so you said you spent about 3 months in each location kind of working on that? I traveled, I was really a full nomad. I hate habits. I hate to do the same things every day. So 3 months would be basically the limit where I feel that I'm starting to do the same thing too often, and I would split. It doesn't matter how much I love the place, I would have to move on just to have that intensity of being in one place when you know nothing and nobody, where your awareness is 101% because everything is new. Even if you didn't want to be aware, you would have to be. It's a little bit like it's addictive, very, very addictive. It's you live with so much intensity at every level of your senses that nothing else but that can make you feel alive in a certain way. So I also wanted to, on this quest for quality, obviously you must make some relationships, some connections that are more lasting, something where you really click with a person. Obviously, you don't stick around, you travel around a lot, but did you come back around and sort of reconnect with the same people frequently over the years?
In India, yes, for 8 seasons in a row, I went back in a mountain in Malana in the Parvati Valley, to the point that I was even speaking the dialect of that specific village.
And so that became sort of like your adopted home away from home, at least there.
India was a big love in my life. I spent more than 8 or 9 years of my life in India. And the mountain in India was an amazing experience. The first time you caress the plants in the field at 10,000 feet, and that resin stick in your hand, it's an experience that you want to repeat. Doesn't matter how the condition you're living in. It's something so magical. Like for me, India was smoking to another dimension. Just like the fact that you dedicate your smoke to the god, it makes you really think of the goodness, how magical, how important it is what you're smoking in a certain way. And that relation with the resin live on the plants was something incredible.
Now, excuse me, when you're there working, in this case with the live plants, they're teaching you new things. They're sort of showing you technique. As you said, a lot of times it's nonverbal, or they're just speaking in their native language, and you're just understanding from the content and the sounds, and obviously they're showing you as well. Do you think when you started showing them things, were they initially receptive, or were people skeptical? Did they feel like that they kind of, you were sort of strange to come there and start teaching them things?
Not really, because you work with their tool. So you need to work their tech, literally. And I never really thought the fact that I was learning alongside them until I actually started to teach. So that I really had to go back and remember the experience I had to actually learn what I was being taught at the time, that I was absorbing, but it's not conscious. It's just that you pick up on the way because you walk alongside them. I don't know how to explain them. Because it's such an openness of knowledge given always. There is not that type of Western mentality in a certain way behind. And in my mind, it all fused together. And I have a favorite tech that's mostly organic, but it's something that I picked up after working in Morocco, for example. So it's like you don't try to teach them when you go to them, especially when you don't bring the tool with you. You adapt to their tech and you absorb what they give you with what you have in your hand.
So, I also have you traveled less extensively elsewhere? Have you traveled further east, than India, or further south, I guess, than Mexico? We know is sort of the further south we talked about.
America, just Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, and that was about it.
Were those also sort of for hash, or just traveling?
Just traveling, mostly peyote, mushroom, those type of research at the time. I did some hash in Mexico by chance. I didn't. When you're a hash maker and people know that that's something you do, you got invitation. So we did a little bit in Mexico, which was really cool. But I did some in Cambodia, in Thailand, any place that produce flower, basically.
So you did go out as far as Cambodia and Thailand and work with some of those more just classic Asian strains. I think that's what's, your exposure to all these different varieties of cannabis in their native environments is part of. I'm sure you take it for granted to some extent, but it's part of what's most fascinating. And we fancy ourselves here. We've seen a lot of strains, whether they're the real deal or not, come in front of our faces here in the States. But to travel and see these things sort of in their native situations, grown in their native manners, I think gives you such a unique and privileged knowledge of the plant.
It is, but at the same time, I didn't know nothing about the plant. I didn't pay very much attention to the plant. I'm a resin guy. I collect resin. I wasn't connected with the plant until India. And India was a certain level of connection. It's not the same connection that I have now in a certain way, because I learned so much about the plant and I know so much about the science behind. It's like now I can live alongside the grower and see what my plants grow and as it in the end. It's something quite unique. The closest I've been in India, in these mountains, in the Malana Valley and the Parvati Valley, you have two types of season. You have the wild cannabis, the wild jungle cannabis that is growing high up in the mountain, wild for who knows how long. And it's kind of an earlier season. It's little patches all over that grows everywhere.
Now, are those cultivated or they're truly wild? Are there like people who come by and tend to them, or they're just wild and anyone who wants to grab them and work them?
No, they're really true wild. There is nobody growing. There is nothing up there. And they've been there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. It's potentially the birthplace of cannabis.
And so,
at least as the Vedas say, it is. So you have that season and you deal with like little small plants, hardly higher than 3 feet, one bud, but really sticky, very powerful. And then you have the cultivated field, where they don't really take care of the plants like you do guys, but they break the ground, they seed it at the rainy season, so that you have like big plants, 7, 8, 9 feet, all green, like big tree.
So there's some agriculture going. It's not.
In the valley, in Malana, the first year when we entered the urine field in the middle of nowhere, and you live in a cave or you build up a cabanas. And the first year we offered the owner to buy the seed for next year without even touching anything replanting it. And year after year we recreated basically a wild phenotype of what was planted. And the difference in a matter of 5-6 years was the plant became a small critter, one little bird of a few inches, so 3 families, perfect for 100 years. And every color you can dream of. Hello?
We're still here. We're still here. Sorry, we're just trying to adjust the sound. We have a poor signal coming in on your phone, and we're trying to make it so the listeners can hear a little more clearly.
Oh, sorry.
But so as you started to get more into the plants in your travels, obviously there's a cumulative thing, but what was it like kind of building this reputation as the resin guy who's going around? You must have been sort of like a Santa Claus to some of these more remote areas that don't get a lot of visitors at all, let alone visitors who are going to come and make hash with them?
There is quite a few, especially in India. There is a world tribe living on a marge of society that just travel.
And
a lot of French, a lot of Italian. So it's like 25 years ago, Malana was something not really well known. And you needed to walk 2 days to go there. And we lived another 6 hours from that village, maybe like the other side of the mountain was China and Tibet, basically. So it's like you live really far in the middle of nowhere. You need to bring everything there, and you stay there for months. It's like now you have to be crazy to do things like this. You have to be so in love with quality and resin that it's ridiculous, and that's why people accepted me the way they accepted me, because it goes beyond what most people would do for anything.
And I imagine that because it's sort of in that way is like self-selective, right? Like you have to really, as you said, you have to be really committed. It has to be your highest priority. Otherwise, there's no rational reason to go do this. I guess that sort of connects you with the right people right off the bat.
The most difficult is to find where is the center of the production. And then you have to just go as deep as you can and as high as you can, because it's always in the mountain, and you pick up a family of village.
And when you're going, I mean, like, so you're talking about going really high up in the mountains. You have to, like, is this like real mountain climbing or not that high?
No, it's like, let's say, for example, in Indiana, Manali Valley is somewhere around 3,000 feet or something like that. Malana Valley is 10,000. The channel you make at 10,000 feet is not the same that the one you make in the valley at 3,000.
Huh.
In this country, it never made the ash of the channel. Where did you go to make it? Where it comes from? There is nothing but where it comes from. That's the state of quality idealist.
So with that as sort of the baseline, and as the baseline for the art of hash production in general, and your education on it, excuse me, how was that transition to now being in the States? I know out there in California you can work with a lot of outdoor, but here in Colorado we're mostly got indoor. What's that? Is there a learning curve there? Was there a transition that had to be made?
Yes, because if you grow flower indoors, and your flower needs to have a certain bag appeal, that means that it needs to be in a lighter shade of color, and the actual quality of the resin formed into the resin head is in a certain way secondary to the whole aspect of the flower. That means that most people are going to cut 10 days to 2 weeks on the harvest. And these 10 days to 2 weeks change everything for us maker. I've had many times an experience, flowers coming from me, to me, that have been picked at perfect harvest time, and the resin is really easy. And then the same grower, the same genetic, the same room harvested 2 weeks early because whatever reason, there is no resin formed into the resin head. You know what I mean? It's super light, actually. There's nothing inside.
So you're saying that 2 weeks earlier that essentially the resin head isn't fully developed inside. It's like not a full capsule.
It's not that because, interestingly enough, if you get tested for cannabinoid content, it shows high level of cannabinoid. But there is so little resin inside that I cannot even rosin it.
And now, if you take it past that 2 week period, is it just a matter of that resin will mature further, or will you get? Is that how you get? Can you sort of?
For me, it's like I just worked all my life without any scientific knowledge, and I really thought I was good at what I was doing. Since then, I picked up a lot of knowledge, and you call me a master, but at the same time, I realized that I don't even know what truly makes quality, because what is happening into the 2 last weeks, I don't know what's going on, and it's all inside that perfection that I can get. That beautiful resin. It's like it has to be brought to the peak of flowering time for me to be able to work with perfection.
And for you, when you're looking at resin glands, right? Are you looking for, the most common advice is you wait till 10% of the glands are starting to amber, and then harvest it, and then cure it. And by the time you're done curing, about 15 to 20% of the glands are starting to amber. What are you looking for? When do you want it? When do you want that plant cut?
Working like Leo and Ninjin from Aficionado, they don't look at the resin head.
Really?
They grow outdoor. They want their calyxes to be totally formed.
Absolutely.
That's what they wait for. You cannot actually judge the ripeness on the color of the trichome, except if you reach a certain point, like a person I just met, she actually judged the ripeness of the resin by looking at the shade of coloring of every resin head. So that, for me, the resin head is made like a fruit. Okay? So I look for melt, I look for quality by shaking a tree. Basically, when I shake the tree, I'm shaking a tree. So when I shake a tiny bit, the ripest resin head fall, the ripest fruit. Then I shake a second time a little bit harder, I have a second level of ripeness that fall. And a third time, and so on and so on. And I shake my tin 12 to 15 times. So that I have 12 dimensions of ripeness that the wholeness of the plant was giving me. But this, I can see the ripeness, I can see the quality once I have done the job. I have never been able to judge the quality by somebody looking at the tree before I actually do the work.
So you don't
press to see how much resin is formed inside the resin head.
Is there any? Did you find any necessity in sort of like evaluating the material you're working on to adjust your procedure at all, or it's you do it and then you judge the result?
For the moment, I do it and I judge the result, and it's something that I recommend to everyone in my classes. Do not accept big quantity of trim. Take a pound of everything, work it out, see the result, then you can accept. You cannot do the work and see the result after. I have done it. I spent 12 to 14 hours working when you have like weeks with really bad results. It's hard. It's as much as it's rewarding to press good resin. It's really bad when everything you press just doesn't press. There is no resin there.
I'm just checking the time here, Frenchy. Sorry, I want to make sure that we talk about the class more, and you brought up some of the material you're going to be covering in the class. I think now's a good time to start making the transition over to that topic. So,
it's very simple. I didn't invent anything. There is what I bring to the table is the science that I check behind the tradition I learned and the experience I've had. It's like I have seen things in my life many times that for me become a reality. I know how good it is of pressing resin, how much it brings to the table. I knew it without, just by experiencing it when I was younger, but since I learned the science behind, it brought it to a level where I have respect for tradition. You know, I am shocked how deep the knowledge goes. Literally, it's like when you press resin, you do a decarboxylation. You get rid of the CO2 molecule so that when you smoke, you have a maximum cannabinoid going to the blood barrier of your lung. But then I said that you just inject the cotton inside the match of resin. It is much more than this. You literally trigger compound. You need compound. Some that are so rare that you don't even have a name. More than 60 of them. It's like, now it becomes something that is literally magical to try resin.
So speaking about that,
I smell and see what aging does to resin. It's things that we want to study literally because it may bring the game to a level that has not been yet approached. It's like the future of art because we have the science to see that what is behind what has been done for so long, we can bring that further. That's why for me teaching is so important because I have my limitation because of my education, my travel is like you limit yourself in a certain way, especially at my age. When I give this to somebody who is in his 20s, people are not the future. They're going to bring the game much further than me because of who they are and because of the tool, because of everything that they can bring to the game that I don't have. If I give them that foundation, that understanding of what actually tradition brought to the table, like we actually invented agriculture, cannabis was just one of the plants that was breeded and cultivated and domesticated. And that's one on 200,000 of them that they've been through to literally invent agriculture. These people, we have a relation with nature. We have an understanding of the plant, exact. We literally talk to them. We consider them as living organisms, as we should, actually. I shouldn't start here.
sounding much better there.
Yeah,
wow.
Right
whatever
there.
you just did,
whatever you just did right there,
better.
whether it's pulling the phone close, whatever you just did was perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
This, however you're holding the phone right
Perfect.
now, what's fixed. Okay, cool. We were freaking out here trying to get the sound good, but it was that. Okay. So, I mean, one thing you touched on there that I think is a great way to sort of discuss what's unique about this seminar, because there are plenty of seminars you can go to and learn how to wash, run a washing machine, pull bags. You probably don't even need a seminar for that. The insight that you've shared is sort of this combination of traditional knowledge of what works best without understanding why, and then what you're bringing to the table and what you're really pulling together here is why. that piece that was never you. Even in your travels, no one was teaching you why. They were showing you how. They were showing you what, but they couldn't explain why. They just knew that's what made the quality. And now, being here and now, very much, you're able to get so much of the science. The idea of changing the resin by working with it manually. Can you explore that a little?
Actually, the problem in this industry, you call the process ice water extraction. You do not extract. If you look at the definition of the word extraction, it doesn't really apply to what we do. We see it.
Frenchy, I'm gonna ask you to adjust the phone again. I'm gonna ask you. Oh, there you go. I'm gonna ask you to adjust the phone.
It's got to be pretty much like right up against your cheek. It can't be more than 2 to 3 inches from your mouth.
Okay. Like
there.
Perfect.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So basically, it's like I make the people learn the definition of the word sieve, which imply a lot. So when you know that actually you're using a sieving process and you know the definition of the word, there is a lot of things that you have to connect to that. And I show dry sieving and how I use dry sieving tech and I apply it to the water. And how water gives us a huge advantage. When you dry sieve, you agitate and you sieve at the same time. It's one process made of two parts.
Sure.
When you use water, you can separate these two processes. You agitate in a washing machine and you sieve in a bag. You don't collect in this bag. These bags are not made to collect. These bags are your tool. That's the sieve. That's where you really do the separation. And it's as simple as that, to tell you the truth. It's like I explain the basic of dry sieving, and I show it with the use of water and what water brings, and how to maximize that.
And of course, once you save, and then you have your resin, even at that point, I think you have techniques that, because look, the resin on a bag, I know many people who can get resin on a bag and get that far very well. Getting it off the bag in the best possible way, in the best possible condition, and finishing that, whether we're talking hand pressing or microplaning or whatever, that's where I think your expertise really outshines, frankly, anyone working right now in hash. That finishing process, which to me, Adam says all the time, it's like, so you can make the dough, but can you bake it? That's where that's what's unique about this seminar. That half of the equation. A lot of places teach you to make the dough, but how do you bake it?
If you think of it, collecting the resin is the easy part. It's like collecting grape. But then the winemaker makes the wine. It's when you crush this grape, and there is a chemical reaction happening, you let that chemical reaction happen, and then you bring this to another level, you transform it through aging. Resin is very much similar to that. When you crush your resin head into a mass of resin, there is a strong chemical reaction happening. And if you let this happen, the quality of the resin gain, and if you let it age a little bit longer, it by plateau. Slowly it gets smoother and it got a stronger body, while really aging the terpene really strongly.
So I think that's a really apt and also beautiful metaphor there. That thinking of resin heads as grapes, right? So. Yeah, the process of sieving is like gathering your grapes, and then the process of making hash is you're really pushing the resin or the juice out of these independent little spheres, or a lot like grapes, actually. But then the idea that by doing that, you're interacting those two you're sort of releasing these two components to interact.
Exactly, but they stay in the mass of the resin, and they're going to be absorbed by it. It's not, if you just press one resin, it may not melt just after press, but it most certainly will in 2 months.
And I'm looking here at because I'm interested in this chemical interaction, this sort of like, you're not forcing it, you're facilitating it, right? You're not adding anything to the resin head. You're not taking anything away. You're adding heat and pressure to sort of break things open, but you're really giving it a chance to interact with itself in a novel way. But there's, talk. I'm looking at some research here about a new terpene that they found. Hashishine, exactly, that they found sort of only in this process.
This is one of the 50 compounds that you find in hashish that you can trace back to the live plant or the dry plant, but has been transformed.
So you said there's 50 compounds that are different in hashish from the live plant. Wow.
Have you read that article? That it's done by French people, and on top of it, they did it in my hometown. It killed me, like. And this is like the most rewarding research I could have dreamed of. It's like it makes pressing really truly an art form, and that's what you find in producing concrete. And pressed ash, it's something unique, and everybody and pressed in ash before smoking. I'm not talking about export press, something that to give it a shape. I'm talking about really creating that mass of resin, because resin, by definition, is made to stick together.
Right.
If you keep it apart, you go against nature.
Now, this is, I think, a distinction between traditional hash makers. Another thing along that same idea, as Adam says, and Americans, that, when it's sieved, it's resin, and not until it's finished is it hash. In America, obviously, we smoke a lot of sifted resin and refer to it as hash. And I think that what you're saying is that that's the difference. Those compounds haven't been converted into these 50 unique, and that's the difference between hash and resin.
It's not the same. It's truly like drinking grape juice and drinking wine.
Well, and I'm looking at it. It's very interesting on alchemiaweb.com/blog-en/hashishine-the-terpene-of-hashish. It's a great little paragraph here. It says hashishine is a rearrangement of beta-myrcene, and we're all familiar with beta-myrcene, common terpene that we find in cannabis. It says, we know that cannabis contains high amounts of monoterpenes and sesquiterpenes. Alpha and beta-pinene, beta-myrcene, and limonene are among the most commonly found monoterpenes, while the predominant sesquiterpenes are beta-caryophyllene and alpha-humulene. 7 out of 10 cannabis samples used in this study contained large amounts of beta-myrcene. That was 19.5 to 28.7%, which is a huge amount. But what about the hashish samples? And this is what's fascinating. After a first series analysis, researchers found out that every hashish sample contained a remarkable amount of what they're calling hashishine now. And it was quite surprising because it had only been isolated once before this study. When you look at it closely, and they do the analysis, hashishine is just the beta-myrcene. It's the same little lines and hexagon on the drawing, but it's just all switched around. It's been moved around and turns into a different compound.
It's wild, the different types of terpenes that you can get. Not even necessarily the different types, but just the different concentrations of terpenes that you can get with hash extraction. I just submitted some of our rosin a couple weeks ago, and it came back at almost 10% terps, just about 8 and change percent terps, but a lot of it was terpinolene, and that's hearing that is 4 or 5% of that specific terpene in a rosin is, especially with the strain that it came from, is really strange, because that's essentially the main terpene that's in like turpentine.
Well, but it's interesting also looking at this study, for example, they're showing that whereas sort of the beta-myrcene converted into hashishine, the terpinolene is gone. from this sample, and this is like a handmade
Which is crazy.
hash versus a rosin, which I think
Also,
which was
just because
4
it's
or 5%
faster,
terpinolene.
probably preserve that a little more. So, and that explains a lot. Accounts for I think a lot of the subtle difference between rosin and hash. And you know what this is sounding to me is like much like sherry. It's almost like the difference between sherry and wine, right? Because sherry is like this really oxidized wine. It's a little stronger, or brandy, where it's like that's what it is. Brandy is a little more fortified wine. And I think that's what comes across with hash. That's what I always love about it. It has this more mature character in its flavor. It's not as simple. It's a lot more complex. And that's these...
There is a depth and the complexity to it that is something you like or you don't, but to know why. And check at the bottom of that article, he gives you the people who did the research and the research paper. You read the research paper. It's amazing, but really, really mind-blowing. The guy just, it's really not even a short overview of what is really behind the research. It takes like 50 plus compounds that you create through photo-oxidation and heat by pressing and manutention, all the manutention that happen when you make a mass of resin from a loose resin head.
Now, is this something that you've had an opportunity or are going to have an opportunity, now that testing is really quite available, is this something that you're finding an opportunity to sort of use as a process analytic, like where you can work resin to some extent, where you know it's not finished yet, and maybe in your mind it's 25% done or 50% done, and then you get it tested and see where it's at, and then take it a little further and get it tested and see where it's at. Is that something that you've considered, or anything that you're working on?
Oh yes. That's one of my big studies. That it's something I really need to do. I would love to test the resin before being pressed, the resin just after pressed, the resin a month after pressed, and then per period of 3 or 6 months, like to give like 30 grams at a big sample ball, so that people can, every time you do a test, you go inside the mass and you take something from the inside.
Sure. Do you test the inside versus the outside as well to see sort of the difference?
The outside, it's just technically what oxidize, what protects the inside in a certain way.
Right. I'm trying to find the link to that article so I can share it with the group. I think I did. I did just find it. Excellent. So I'm going to go ahead and be able to post the link to the article that we're referencing here to the Adam Dunn Show Facebook group.
Speaking. Those people made an amazing article also on why you shouldn't freeze your plants fresh. Which it's nice to have somebody backing me up. It's the first time somebody writes something that I've been preaching for quite a while.
Well, and it's so funny because it's something I think intuitively a lot of us have known, but again, without the science, how do you really prove it? But it just speaks perfectly. You know, you press the grapes, you get the wine. The wine has to sit out and ferment and age. And then if you want to make it into brandy, you have to add a whole other plums or whatever and let that ferment as well. And there's these stages of chemical changes that build such a rich product. And you can't, no pun intended, you can't fake the funk. You can't rush that. You can't. I would be very curious to see what it would be like now that people are sort of manipulating and adding terpenes after the fact to add synthetic hashishin. I think it wouldn't work. I don't think it would be like hash.
Oh no! It can't be. It can't be. It has to be. It's amazing, especially when you age. Gene has a 5-year-old hash made with a plant that has been breeded longer, and I did twice hash with the same plant breeded to higher level. And the ash with better tools that was cleaner, everything you want was on my side. My ash is miles away from his H1. but like it's not even it's not even playing in the same culture. Crazy difference. So like really aging brings so much on the table that we don't know they can change the face of the industry, art industry. I mean, in the world, this is something like just because we have the science and every strain will be different, like varietal. Some will smoke young, and smokers want to be aged, need to be aged, literally to get better.
So that leads to an interesting discussion on the aging process. One, is there a cap? Well, is it finished ever? Does it ever finish, or will it continue to get? Obviously, it'll continue to. Or I guess the first question is, will it continue to change? And secondly, will those changes always be better, or will it kind of reach a peak point where you want to either stop it from aging or consume it?
The oldest I smoked was 12 years old.
12 years old. Wow.
In India, that was charas. Then I smoked a 10 years old Nepalese Royal Nepalese Temple Boy. And then other ones like 8, 5 years, 2, 3 years quite often.
So
not that often, it's kind of rare.
Wait, did you say, I'm sorry, I was looking at Facebook. Did you just say 50 years old?
12 years old.
Oh, 12, okay, yeah. Okay, I heard that part. Okay.
12 and 10 by the temple goal, and then like 8 and 5 and average 2 or 3.
Now, do you...
I think there is a plateau for sure where it's just stabilized and stays there.
And where do you think that plateau seems to come in?
In the perfect condition, it should last forever at that level.
And do you think that plateau is, do you think 10 years is necessary? Is there a difference between 8 and 10 years? Is there a difference between 5 and 8 years?
I can't say. It was amazing.
Oh, I'm sure.
I can't say. Like the Royal Temple Boy, I didn't believe the guy. I really didn't. I had never seen something even remotely close to that Temple Boy. It looks like a rock, like a dull, blackish stick ball with no plastic, no packaging, nothing. And the guy had little holes around it, and he broke it like an egg. And so you had like that thin crust of like a millimeter or two of really like hard resin. It's really hard, like a shell. And inside it was like goodness. I had never seen something like this, and never smelled something even remotely close to that.
So now they don't smoke the shell, right? Do they just kind of like crack the shell? And what is it, like 25% of the outside is the shell?
Inside, the pig go inside, and then they kind of close it up.
That's pretty cool. So it's like a little Cadbury egg or something, where you crack it open and you scoop some of the goop out and you close it back.
Imagine what comes behind this. Somebody who was so into the resin, who know it so well in tropical countries, to make the resin protect itself, and it just gets on the shelf in Nepal. It's amazing piece of technology for me.
So, and that's an interesting question. The difference between when you're working in like a very humid, warm, tropical climate and something of more an arid, dry climate, I have to imagine then when you're working in some parts of the Middle East, higher altitudes, it's much easier to develop sort of the shell on the outside and it dries sort of naturally and hardens. But in a hot, wet climate, I mean, I even know in the States when you're on the East Coast in summertime, hash stays sticky. You can't really get it to harden up. Is it a matter of technique, or you just find a vessel or a place?
It's tech.
And I imagine that's where...
I mean, it's like in Nepal and India, the only problem is mold. everything
Mold,
molds.
sure. Mold is everywhere. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've never seen it on a plant, but on the ash, it's crazy. You only need to buy quality to avoid it. And even when you buy quality, it's a fight. So that to create something that protects the resin inside from the element in such a way, it's amazing. And the stuff is gooey, creamy inside, my friend. Ooh la la. But I have never seen somebody make a royal temple ball ever. I had the guy explain me how it was done, but I've never seen it. Already I was there in 1980 in Nepal, and already was the end of the.
And how much variation is there in the technique between sort of the royal temple ball method and the standard Nepali method? What the guys
now
do.
they just make a ball like me, basically, and they put it in a plastic.
Yeah.
So that's easy.
And
it's that final. First they take many pieces of chars together, and slowly they press them together until it's a big mass of perfect ball with no blemish whatsoever. And then they roll that ball on the enamel plate so hard in the sun, so well that it literally seals the outside layer in a shell that can stand, that this one could stand 10 years without a crack, without anything. It looks like a big round, dull black stuff with no blemish, like a stone polished by water, more or less, except that it's perfectly round.
And another question I'd always had, well, I have so many questions now that we're getting into like technical pressing. And
how do you make exactly what you make? And
no, we have 10 more. We have 10 more questions, 10 more minutes, 12 more minutes, and then I think Adam's going to call in from New York. If not, I have questions for you. I always wondered this, right? Do these various regions or families or whatever have ways that they take care of their hands specifically so they can make hash? I mean, I've seen, and that kind of ties in, I've seen a lot of the Moroccan guys, the fire and ice method, where they're like handling hash on hot coals. It looks really hot, and it looks like they've been doing this for a long time. Are there like, because their primary tools are their hands, is there any preparation that they do to make their hands get better at this over time?
In India, yes, because it's your tool.
Uh-huh.
That's where you actually collect the resin. So your hand is quite important. In other, like in acid producing countries, it's mostly the cleanliness is not really from the people, and because they are Muslim, actually, most of them do ablution and stuff like that before going into the room to work. It's not, they are naturally clean people. Even if it doesn't look like it on the picture, they actually clean despite the conditions they are living in.
Yeah.
But when they work clean because that's what they do. So, for example, a drying room in Morocco or Pakistan is really much cleaner than anything I've seen around in California.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I believe it. I've seen the videos, old videos of the Reef Mountains. There's an old movie called Keef and the Reef, where it just shows them working, and you can tell that people are very conscious of what they're doing, and that's sort of the first thing that you get is that this is a very deliberate, the efforts are focused. You know what you have to keep really clean and what you don't, but the areas that they have to keep clean are, really sealed and kept clean.
Well, you have to think also that most of what they do, it's for export, so they are not super careful. They are super careful with their stash.
Right.
That's the family is by the stash. Literally, that's what I want.
And so I know that, and I think you're going to, in the seminar, prevent some of, I think it's a Turkish method, using sort of a vessel with hot water in it to roll the hash.
It's something I made up, to tell you the truth. It's something I wanted to mimic hand pressing. But I wanted to have a strong decarb too. I decarb somewhere around 30 to 40%. So by using boiling water at 220 in a wine bottle, by the time I start pressing, I press somewhere around 180, 190, 200, and I press my piece of ash 3 times, somewhere around 10 minutes, a good 10 minutes. So that at the end of the day, I have a super nice slow decarb of like 30 to 40% of my cannabinoid.
Now, have you played with any of the other methods? I know that's your primary method, and it's probably the most efficient for production. Obviously, the quality's there. But have you played with any of the other methods, sort of out of curiosity and in your learning process, for heating and cooling and manipulating?
I mean, I use cold and heat to manipulate, like you say, exactly. Cold, it's just an element to help you deal with the sticking characteristic of the resin. It's not cold that make it fall. It's made like a fruit. It's made to fall at the smallest touch. It's cold. It's just give you an habitat that is encouraging the process in a certain way. Like in the producing country, to make ash, you go in the winter because you sieve in the winter. If you want to press and you sieve in the shade, you wouldn't sieve in the sun. Right. You know what I mean? It's like when you take this and you put it in a washing machine, it's not the ice, it's not the cold, it's the water movement that stroke away the resin head. So it has to be powerful and gentle. Everything else, you want to work in a cold element because then your sticky is going to be, your resin is going to be more easier to handle.
Now,
it's an element that you use. It's not mandatory to the process.
So one thing that we hear a lot as far as the washing process, the separation process, is that the cold is important to keep the resin at that point sort of rigid so it breaks easier at the stalk rather than bending. And it sounds like what you're saying is that it doesn't even need to be that cold when you're washing. That's not what the point.
The resin head is made like a fruit to fall at the smallest touch. There is an adhesion that is under the resin head, like a fruit or like a leaf. It's made to fall at maturity. So trying to make the stalk brittle for the head to fall, actually it doesn't make sense, but it's a handicap because brittle stalk, it becomes small and it could become part of your of something that you have to separate after in your bag. You want to keep the wholeness of the plant as much as you can. You just want the current of the water stroking off the resin head. It's like have you ever lay down in a river flat on it and when you feel all the water massaging you? That's what we do. That's why I can wash my plant 12, 15 times and I hardly break anything. I open the bud, but I don't crush or I don't break my leaves.
Sure. And because it's not frozen, you're not getting it broken up. It's still pliant. That makes a lot of sense. Do you have any, or maybe this is part of the process in some way, how do you deal with the fact that your water-soluble terpenes are going to be more soluble or less? Water-soluble terpenes will be less soluble in colder water. Do you have to account for that?
So it's like my question is, where are the terpenes? The terpenes are what comes from the stock. It's a terpene precursor. Then it's stored under the belly of the resin head. It becomes terpene until it leaks inside the resin head. So as long as my membrane, the membrane of the resin head is not broken, I cannot lose anything I'm interested in.
This makes sense.
What I lose is the breaking point. Yes, I lose at that part, but it's a precursor of terpene. I'm not really worried too much about it. My whole interest is the resin head, that wellness, that membrane is not broken by any means, so that I can, when it broke, it's under my hand, and I transform what's inside into a mass, so I lose nothing, or as little as possible.
That's actually a very reasonable, really good counter-argument. I think the basic idea that if it's warmer, the head's not going to break. As long as it's an intact head, water can't penetrate it. It doesn't have to be hot or warm by that matter, but room temperature, why not?
I mean, I can speed at room temperature. It would be less easy. I would get less, but it works. I like it better when it's cold. I wouldn't go and freeze in the middle of the summer in the sun. I can do it.
But you wouldn't necessarily.
But it's really not the best way to do it.
But you don't. I guess what I'm finding very interesting is that you don't need it to be, especially with the water in the mix, as cold as a lot of people believe to sieve. You're not really trying to induce this brittleness in the plant by making it cold.
Exactly.
And it sounds like that's, based on what you're saying, that's actually counterproductive, because if you're making the stalks more brittle, you're making the heads more brittle. If you break the head, that's when you're losing terpenes to the water.
Exactly. Huh. You make a mess of it.
Huh. You do make a mess of it. And I mean, your water smells great when you get it really cold. It gets nice and frothy.
It does. It does, and it's not. I do certain precursor. It smells, but it smells as strong in a drying room, in a producing country. If you dry here, it smells strongly too.
Yeah.
You know, and what you lose in the water, you lose in your feeding room too. In the water, it's all condensed in a small medium, so it smells high. But you cannot go in a feeding room without being totally closed and protected that only your eyes show.
Sure.
It's like I tried. I didn't last 5 minutes. I thought it would be cool to get high at the same time that I was doing this.
All right, Frenchy, we're going to do shout-outs one more time. I'm going to keep you on the line if you have a few more minutes, because we're trying to get Adam to call in New York. He's on the street. It's a little loud, so I don't know if he'll be able to. If he can't call in, I'd love to talk to you for about 20 more minutes, man. But let's do our shout-outs real quick, and we'll come back. Cool. Big shout-out, of course, to Way to Grow, our favorite resource for gardening. You want to call? If you call in from your phone, like not from Skype, then we can get you on the line with Frenchy. You want to do that?
Okie dokie, I'll do that.
Okay, bye. Okay. All right, bye. We'll finish. So, KTI, finish talking about Way to Grow.
So he goes back.
Oh, did we lose Frenchy too?
Shouldn't have.
Okay. Well,
I didn't click anything.
Yeah,
I'm hoping.
So my friend, he goes back a couple days because he decides he wants a bunch more soil, and then he goes back and he's like, hey, how much can I get for this much soil for? And they offer him a deal that's more than what they offered him for that one bag of soil. So, he argues with them. He goes, hey, you got me a better deal the other day when I got one bag of soil. And they kind of argue with him. They're like, no, we didn't. So he finally took my advice and went to Way to Grow. And without even dropping the Adam Dunn Show, he got a better deal than what he did going to the other grow store.
So I think we got Adam and Frenchy on the line now.
Might have my thing.
Yeah.
Okay, my Uber's here. Cool.
All right, we got Adam. His Uber's here. Frenchy's on the line.
Nice. All happening.
And we're finishing our shout-outs here. So, Adam,
give us 3 minutes.
Chill. Let us finish.
Okay, perfect.
Good.
I'll get in the Uber. How's that?
All right.
Frenchy, can you still hear us, pal?
Yeah.
We're looking for Frenchy, not
That's
Adam.
not Frenchy.
Adam, you don't talk. We're looking for Frenchy. All right, that's Frenchy.
So Frenchy's there. Okay, that laugh was Frenchy. Perfect.
Okay, big shout-out to our buddies at Incredibles Edibles. Of course, award-winning edibles and concentrates.
Ain't gonna get no other cabs in Brooklyn now.
Yo, Adam.
Adam, do you want to do the Incredibles spot from the New York taxi cab, or you want to let me do it from the studio?
Who am I shouting out now?
Do Incredibles.
We're trying to do ads over here. You're talking.
Oh, good old Incredibles.
On the phone. Do the Incredibles. Read it.
Now,
Yo, do the Incredibles. Hey, Incredible Extracts,
But
Incredible Edibles. They're here, they're in New York, they're everywhere. Now their flavors are off the hook. I heard there's a bacon flavor coming out, right?
Oh, we're going to maybe announce the
they
new
blew it.
flavors in a couple weeks.
They blew the new
We'll
flavor.
The bacon ice cream cakes, or what was the deal? What was it?
Ice
Something
cream- ice cream
crazy
cake.
flavors.
Yeah, we'll
But,
we'll
they
see if
are
those
killing
flavors are
it.
coming out.
Everyone out here doesn't. Everyone out here can't wait to get Incredibles into New York. That's for sure. Maybe it'll happen. Who knows? But you can get them in Colorado, no problem.
And Cali soon.
All over in Cali, Vegas.
Find out more at iloveincredibles.com.
It's becoming a more incredible world every day.
Every day.
Actually.
And let's give a big
Or
shout out
incredible.
to probably our least New York sponsor, buildasoil.com. There's buildings in New
Oh,
York,
yeah.
but there's not a lot of soil. But
Well, upstate, right? You know, they got some good soil upstate.
buildasoil.com, our favorite choice for custom organics fertilizer. They will mix you bulk blends. Jeremy's I was texting with him today. He's got a truck of Malibu biodynamic compost hitting tomorrow. Order the fresh batch of Malibu. We're getting some. That's what he's recommending instead of castings right now. He's offering it at such a good price. Usually you can't afford to get that stuff at the same price as castings, so you go with the cheaper castings. The price he's offering it at right now is competitive with castings. There's no question to make that upgrade. It's amazing compost. Really excited to be able to offer that through Build a Soil. Of course, big shout out to Grow Stones. Adam, you making any Grow Stones out there? You going through some bottles, buddy?
I made a lot of grow stones last night, my God.
Good.
But
for
on
your
top of that,
birthday,
I talked to a guy today who was using grow stones, and he was a really scientific kind of kid. He was like he came out of the aquarium world, and he's like taking it real seriously.
Sure.
And
he
without
loves the
me
Grow
mentioning
Stones.
it, he said he uses grow stones as the medium of choice. So there you go. I was pretty impressed. I was like, well, they were one of our sponsors, so I'm glad to hear that you got such good results with it. He actually added. He said he had dolomite. He had dolomite and quartz into his mix, and he does just a aeroponic system. So pretty awesome.
Interesting.
Quartz, dolomite, and grow stones. So
And of course, big shout out
very
to
versatile.
to our buddies at Hydroponic Research, makers of Veg and Bloom. The whole lineup there of extremely simple, elegant, professional grade products, solutions for large scale gardens. Where it's consistent, repeatable, high quality. I can't talk enough about how it's the way to go on a big system. The Veg and Bloom, the Plus Life, the Push, and the Shine. It's a very simple formula to produce fire. It couldn't be easier. It couldn't be more cost effective. They customize it, of course, to your water pH and ppm to make sure that you have the
You
right.
got to make sure you do that. Make sure you give them the right exact order that you have, because they're definitely different formulas for different water sources.
And if you're a commercial garden, you can send them a water sample, and they'll figure it out for you and make you a
I
custom
think
blend.
you could probably get them a water sample you could probably get a water sample done and send that result to them.
Sure,
and match them.
absolutely.
No, I have to ask because I haven't used it in a while. But when I was using it, it was plus size.
No, it's Plus Life.
So it's just Plus Life. That's their,
And no.
veg additive.
No, the
And
Bloom additive
Decided
now
to
is
go-
Shine.
Well, the Shines. That's
Shine,
but I'm saying the Plus Life is the plus size now, which was
No,
originally
the Shine is replaced Plus Size, and Plus Life is their micro.
Everybody now.
Gotcha.
Excuse me.
Okay, and of
So I noticed
course,
I noticed you guys are at my house.
yeah, we are.
Oh, yeah.
It's creepy, I
You didn't
bet.
get very far.
I'm stealing fucking
Creepy,
everything,
really.
dude.
Wait,
Like
wait.
watching people rob your house.
I'm stealing all these paintings, and I'm gonna put your cannabis cups on
Yeah.
eBay.
Yeah, we're selling Adam's cannabis cups on eBay.
So if you want them, $10.
Nice.
Every bid will shock the
Nice.
kid.
No, it will not. There's no shocking.
No shocks today, huh? You guys did not.
We
incorporate shocks?
decided if we do it once a month, it'll probably preserve the kids' nerves longer and also keep the novelty going. Okay,
Yeah, it's like it's like a cat. You don't want to kill the thing.
you don't want
You
to
don't
kill the
want to
cat.
kill it ever. It's an animal.
That's a terrible way of saying that.
Well,
Wait!
You
Big
just
shout
wanna
out
beat
to
up a
Seeds
little
Here Now. Seeds Here.
You forgot one.
Future now.
All right,
Future now.
Doesn't matter. Wrong one.
Okay, Dark Horse Genetics, Dark Horse Concentrates. Oh, why don't you pull up the new site, bud?
Oh, yeah, I heard about this Dark. Somebody
There's
mentioned
a new
this to me
site?
today. They said, so Dark Horse Competition. I was like, what are you talking about? I had no idea.
What's that?
I don't know.
Dark Horse Competition? I don't know anything about that.
There's a new site.
You said something about
DHCO.co.
like something about a clone competition all using Dark Horse Genetics. Did you hear about this?
Yes, there's the grow off. We are providing the genetics for the grow off. That's a good
I
thing.
did
to
not
talk
know this. This is good to know. So, there you
Yeah,
go.
it's an interesting competition. Jake Brown and some of the guys from the Cannabis are organizing it. It's only for licensed facilities, only licensed rec facilities.
I get it. Okay, so it's a licensed facility.
And then you get
Go
it, so it gets metriced over to you, gets transferred in the system, and then
Well,
no
what
judging.
genetics are we working?
No, well, we can't tell them what genetics. Secret genetics. That's the whole point. We bred it for the competition, and then everybody grows it, and then it's whoever gets the highest terpenes, highest cannabinoids, and heaviest weight in metric. Are the
your site's freaking out, bro.
Okay, well, it's not going to work on this big screen. We're not going to load that site right now. Let's keep it moving to Seeds Here Now. Seeds Here Now. Is Seeds Here Now in New York? He's not there.
No, he's not in New York. He's going to be in Alaska, I think.
Alaska.
He's going to
Alaska.
He's going to be in Seattle, Fairfax, Alaska.
Nice.
And, Seattle. So there's another show coming up there, and then he's back up to Alaska. So he's covering that whole Northwest.
He loves the Northwest.
Dude's all over the place. Does he even have a house? Like, he just travels all over, right? Why even have a
Sleep
house?
on the plane. He only sleeps on the plane.
He just moved. He just moved.
Why
oh,
even-
you know what, though? Here's great news. He found my suit. There you
Oh,
go.
wonderful. I didn't know your suit was missing. That's good news.
I
did
thought-
not know my
Suits
suit.
here now.
That's
Suits here
what-
now.
that's
Suits
what-
here now.
That's what
Suits
TSA.
here
I
now.
was told.
Suits here now.
I was
Suits
told
here
that's
now.
what
Suits
TSA
here
was
now.
looking for. Was your suit?
Yeah.
Yeah, in my balls.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yes.
Shout outs
Suits here now,
done.
Suits here now.
We got Adam on the line. We got Frenchy on the line. We got 7.
Wait. Who
Okay.
do we have on the
Do
line?
it. Go ahead. We got Adam on the line, and we have Frenchy on the line. There we go. Adam, you like that?
Well, there you go. That's enough.
You're
That's enough
loving it.
internationalness, I think. Pretty
Yes,
good.
there you go. All right, pull that down, kid. Pull up. There we go.
Pull up, pull down.
Pull.
How's Frenchy doing?
No. So, Adam, are you psyched for the Frenchy seminar? I can't even hear. Are you psyched for the Frenchy seminar?
Of course we are. Okay, I can't believe it. I've actually got a few people out here asking about it, so we know the word's getting out, that's for sure.
That's nice. All right, Frenchy, are there still...
And within 2 seconds of watching the show, I had people surround. Like, I watched the show during the beginning when you guys were opening it up, and within 2 seconds, people already walking by were like, "Is that Frenchy Cannoli?" They could hear his voice so obvious. I was like, that guy's on point. Like, some Canadian guy was like, "Is that Frenchy Cannoli?" I was like, "Yes, it is, my friend." This is off my phone, seriously. Imagine that.
So, Adam, Frenchy, are there still seats available, or you're sold out on the seminars?
Yeah, there is.
Okay, so there's seats available for both days, and that will be, let's go look at the dates again. Let me pull up a calendar. What is it?
The first and second.
July 1st and 2nd. So that's July 4th weekend, so you probably have off work anyway. You might as well come out, hang out with Frenchy, hang out with us. The sound will be better because it will be in person, that's for sure. And you
Smells will
get,
be better, too.
even better, you get to smoke the
That would be
Herbs
as
would
bad.
be better.
Yeah, and you get to smoke the hash. So there's that part. That's going to be really great.
Say that part, yeah.
And what is
Smells, the sounds.
And the taste, right? There's going to be breakfast or brunch or lunch. What's the story with the coffee?
Breakfast, lunch, and snack in the afternoon. No, we treat you like royalty. And I need to feed the people in the middle of the day because I took so much information that I need them to really pack energy for the afternoon. It's a long day from 8:30 to 6.
That's
It's
a full
long
day.
and I cover a lot. People were asking me, it's not a question of beginner or how long you've been making hash. Since everything I do is so different, my approach is totally different. The more knowledge you have of the plants and the resin, the better you're going to pick it up. But it's for everybody, basically. And the workshop does not finish at 6 o'clock. Everybody who was attended the workshop has the links to me. As long as they need me to answer a question, I will be there.
And of course,
Until I'm the one who needs to ask questions.
and once that happens, hang out and ask questions. We'll keep the gallery open for you. We'd love to continue it. Sorry, I'm excited for it. How much are seats? It was a really good price. Well, how much was it, Frenchy?
25 maximum.
25 seats available.
Yeah.
And it's $250 for the whole class.
It's 250. Yeah.
And then, should people bring notebooks, or is there materials provided?
People, it's open source, so you can record, you can film, you can do everything. The only things we ask, it's not to shoot other people's face.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For you guys,
We just all wear bags on it.
in the legal state, but to respect the privacy of the other attendees. That's all we ask.
That's
Otherwise, it's open source. Yeah.
Of course, we love that rule.
Unknown comic. I think unknown comic style, where we all wear masks or we all wear paper bags.
No, we can't have everyone in the seminar.
Come on. Great.
No.
No, you don't like ideas.
No, it's almost 4:20 Colorado time. Are you in the Uber now, Adam?
I'm in the Uber, so I probably can't partake if we're
Of course you have to. Tell him who you are. Show him the beard.
All right. Exactly.
We're excited to have you out here, Frenchy. We're really excited to do the seminar. More excited than anything, we're to bring the students who are interested into this sort of into our world, bring them to Sohi and really kindle it. As there's no hash mecca in Denver. You know, Adam, that's what CIA was back in Amsterdam.
You can see. Come on, guys.
But he doesn't have a place. We don't. There's people. There's certainly a hash scene in Denver, but there's no place where the hashishin gather, as it were.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
And this will create that for the gallery. I think that's one of the coolest things. That's what made CIA cool.
And then a week later, we'll be doing some other hash stuff.
Yeah, and
also never ending.
To tell you the truth, it's even more important than you think, because we need to create so much. We don't have a valid quality scoring system. We don't have a common vocabulary. What do you call loose resin? I know how to call pressed resin, but loose resin, there is also a dozen names that can pop in my head like that. It's like we need to have a common vocabulary because it's becoming illegal, because it's going to be a world market. And we need to have, we need to be at the level. If we let anybody else do that for us, it's not going to be the same, because they don't have the knowledge we do.
Well, and in all that, in clarifying terms, you sort of build a model of understanding, and that's what helps everything proceed. That's really what helps the development of the hopefully, we'll see this refined. Hopefully hash 200 years from now will be better than now, and hopefully the hash we're making now is better than 200 years ago. And if not, we're doing something wrong.
I hope so. Yeah, I don't know about that. So, and there is a good chance. Especially, like, when I was young, I had the choice between half a dozen servers: Lebanon, Morocco, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, India. Here, for me, every strain is like stepping in a new producing country. The diversity that you have, every one of them, it's a specific hashes that is really unique. So it's like the game already, just because of this, it's so much bigger. That's why we need desperately a quality scoring system, because the quality became so wide. There is so much little difference between the level of quality that has never happened in the history of hashish. We really need to create a valid system that even a non-connoisseur looking at the scoring system can evaluate the experience he's going to have when he smokes the hash he paid for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I think quality is one aspect, but I think what you're also hitting on, because there's such a variety of cultivation styles, and you have all these variables that can happen, especially like you're saying, where we have it now, where every batch is like processing in a different country in a different year almost, a different season, as it were. There's quality, and then there's just the differences. We need to develop a vocabulary to talk about the differences in the texture and the differences in the appearance on a very subtle level. You know what I'm talking about? Like, and what is it?
Yeah, because communally we come up with stuff, and like we'll call something crumble, or we'll call something wax, or we'll call something this. But at a certain point, there's a lot of differences between even in those groups. You know what I mean? Like the waxes can be a sticky, or crumbles can be like truly crumble, or they can also be like that kind of, where they kind of flake in little bits, you know what I mean? And it's a little more flaky, and you can get into these nuances and stuff. So it is definitely, I mean, again, some of these terms are going to be different regionally. You know what I mean? Some areas.
But I mean, even just
like
talking
California
about
compared to
hash, not even talking about solvent hash, like. You know, the difference you have from doing something with like really small heads versus something with really big heads. And then I'm starting to see in the solvent world, but I think is the future of hash, there's going to be mixed runs. You know, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And
oh, for sure.
How does how like different stuff, depending on what it is, like when you pour it over, even at the same temperature, some stuff like all sticks together and some stuff is like sand. It like all flows. And then some stuff, like when you press it, it's softer at like room temperature, and some stuff's like hard at room temperature, and there's all like we don't have words for that. You know, we're talking about it; it's real.
Those are characteristics of the resin. I'm talking about quality. What defines quality? So you have the melt for everybody, only the melt, but the melt represents how much resin is found inside the resin head, which is very important. But then, how much cannabinoid is inside that resin, how wide the spectrum of the cannabinoid is, how much terpene there is. Then you have like the stability of the resin, you have the appearance a little bit, and then you have the degustation part, which is the most important, and nobody even think about it. How does it smell before you smoke it? How does it taste your mouth when you smoke it? How intense it is, how long does it last, how unique it is. I mean, there is a whole dimension of quality in the degustation part that we don't even look at. And when you think that everything about smoking, it's a degustation and only your nose and your mouth actually experience it, it's a shame.
And I mean, the one thing I've always thought about with hash in a similar... You know, we always talk about melt. Oh, something melts better than something else. But the way it melts, I feel like, tells so much, whether it like pits down or whether it bubbles up or like how the color spreads on the bubble. I mean, yeah, the heat of the lighter has something to do with it, but it tells you a lot about that resin when you're kind of just dissolving it to what it really is. Frenchy, we got a question in the chat room. This is leading me to a question. Chat room wants to know if you have any plans to produce a textbook or any sort of written instructional manual, either as a companion to the class or as a standalone offering.
I'm writing a book.
You are writing a book.
A part of it would be the text, and a huge part of it would be the tradition, origin of concentrate, and a lot more science that I also give at the workshop. Yeah, I'm planning it, but that's a long-term story, and actually my wife is recording the workshop and is planning to pick up a big chunk of the book from that. She thinks that I speak better than I write, so she wants to make a book where I don't write like I write for with words. I'm speaking to people more than writing.
Sure, and then just
thinking about what I write. That's what she wants to put. But yeah, absolutely.
I love that, and sort of the second thing, maybe you just answered it. I don't know if I gave you a copy of my book. I hope I did. If not, I will when you come here. But kind of what you're talking about as far as an in-depth grading system of cannabis, of flower, is what I was looking at in my book. And God, I would love to collaborate with you on something for hash, and that's something we could talk about that when you're here, because I don't have access to enough great hash to really go at it in detail. But I think with your knowledge, I can do the writing part. On that note, we're at 4:26 right now. Yup, we're going to wrap up. Frenchy, it's always a pleasure. I'm very excited you're coming back in 2 weeks so we can continue.
Oh, man, I can't tell how much I am too.
And in person, it's always so much better when we don't have to deal with microphones and dealing with distractions of the chat room, this and that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you.
If we were in the same room, would be different. On the phone like that, it's never really perfect.
No, it's not. The timing's off. You don't see the faces. We'll be in the same room in 2 weeks, man. I'm really excited that you're coming out here. Again, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing with us, as always, man.
Oh, man, my pleasure. It's cool, always.
Cool, Frenchy. And Adam,
Thanks, Frenchy.
Do you want to do some sneak in and do some shout-outs?
Sure, whatever you need. Whatever. When my phone dies, I'm here.
Do your personal shout-outs. That's all we got to do. We're done with the show.
Is that all we're doing?
Hey, it's easiest show you've ever done. Yeah.
My God, that
You
was
made it
easy.
before the end of
Well,
class. That's it. It's like the teacher's giving the lecture, and then they do attendance at the end of class.
Well,
You made it. Yeah.
What happens when you're the professor? You're allowed to come. To the
Yes, you are.
Big shout out to everybody who came through to the class this weekend. I told lots and lots of people to listen to the show. I passed out lots and lots of Adam Dunn Show invites, so I think we're going to have a whole bunch of new listeners here in New York.
Awesome.
Shout out to my beautiful wife, Cece, who's out there picking up Nick, I'm assuming, right now. Going into, I'll be home tomorrow. Big Papa's coming home.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to everybody else, all the fans, everybody else listening to the show. Got a lot of people coming through. It's been really interesting to see, dedicated people. I'm explaining the show to them, and they're like, "Oh, I've been listening to you for years." I'm like, "Oh, wow, this is awesome."
People, are they from New York? Or
lots of requests still, Mitch, for when are we going to be on the podcast?
I've been getting them too. I am too. I will tell you, I have emailed with Bram. Bram is our developer who's doing it. I know I sent you a screenshot of it, but I'm going to read it to everyone because hopefully Bram's listening to this, and this will sort of hold him to the fire here.
Feet over the fire, hands over the fire.
Yep.
But anyway,
he says Bram will be taking off for a week starting the 15th, 2 days ago, and he is certain he will find the time to finish up during this time. So I would say within the next week, we are doing the mega podcast dump based on what Bram says in the email.
We may blow people's tones up. That's what I was thinking.
Dude, it's going to be like 200 episodes. It's going to be awesome.
I know. People are going to be going, ding, 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 ding. Your RSS feed is going to go nuts.
Phone's just going to die. It's going to be great.
Yeah. And shout out to you guys for holding it down while I was gone.
Holding it down. Don't worry. We got you, buddy.
Stop farting on the couch over there.
Yeah, who's farting on the couch? I heard a lot.
Not me.
Yeah.
I heard it.
The kid. I know it's a kid.
It's the kid. You got shout-outs, kids?
I was going to say, well, speaking of farting on the couch, happy birthday, Adam, right? So, yeah, no. And, no, shout out to the mountains.
Shout out to the mountains.
Thanks for having me.
Mountains.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to do a quick shout-out, and then we'll wrap it up. Hey, shout out to Bodie. I haven't heard from him in a while. Usually the only way I can get a hold of Bodie is when he listens to the show and shoots me an email. So, hey, buddy, been thinking about you. Give us a shout. Let us know if you're...
Hey, I got a question on that. Bodie Green is not Bodie, is he?
No, there's like a lot of fake Bodies all over Facebook. Bodie, the real Bodie's not on Facebook or Instagram.
Because Bodie Green had some invites to go to the Dalai Lama, so I thought it could have been a Bodie. Sounded great.
Not the real Bodie, no. Different Bodie.
No, okay.
But
hopefully Bodie Green can take real Bodie to the thing.
Yeah, that would be cool if they linked up.
Double Bodie, that's like a...
Double Bodie, like a double bogey. Yeah.
Almost a golf term.
Yup.
Almost.
So, real Bodie, if you're listening, buddy, shoot me an email. Want to make sure you're still planning on coming out this summer. Make sure we are getting you on the show. Of course, shout out to my remarkable wife, Reese, little kiddo Farron. I'm going home to fight through traffic to see them. Thank you guys for hanging in the chat room and dealing with the strange French audio. Now I know why French music sounds different. It's a different acoustic range. Hopefully we'll get that a little better when we have Frenchy live in studio. Guys, we'll catch you next week. Don't forget, also next week, live at So High, Mr. Voorhees, glass and art show. If you're in Denver, we're going to Adam, I need you to send me those pics from him so we can put them up on the social media.
Okay, I'll do that right now.
Good. And everyone heard you say that, so you got to do it. All right, guys, thanks for listening.
I really will.
KTI, you got it.
Take us out, KTI.
Station in the United States is a communication to
What's
the
up?
children
Sit there.
to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden
Oh, shit. Just hit stop. Yep. Later, guys.